wouldn't even wish you'd understand. I just wish that God had a better plan. I'm so confused. I need a redo. Inside of me that's begging and begging and pleading. I just wanna feel free. I just wanna feel lovely. I'm surrounded by love that's in pain. Can I wipe your tears away? Please don't hurt for me. I hate that it's for me. It's for me.
Hi, welcome to the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast, sponsored by Olipop. Olipop is the drink that is not like your traditional soda. It is a probiotic. I've always drank the regular soda my whole life. It got to a point where it was messing with my stomach. I had to cut it out of my diet. And then I found Olipop. These flavors are amazing. My favorite right now is root beer and grape, but they have so many different flavors. Pick you up some Olipop, go to their website, and if you put in the promo code GOBLUE, you get a 20% discount. Okay, my name is Brian. I am the MS Michigan Man 64. I have had MS for the last 28 years. Back in 1992, I was playing for the University of Michigan against Washington in the 1992 Rose Bowl. 5 years after that, I get diagnosed with MS. Chronic disease never goes away, and I've been living that life ever since. I talk about my journey as well as the journey of other chronic disease warriors all over the world, just to try to help people to understand what it's like living this life. So today I am talking to a beautiful lady from up in Canada. Her name is Erica, and she is the mom of an MSer, pediatric MS. This is a topic that I have not had on the show yet. I think it's really, really important to talk about. Frankie was diagnosed with his MS when he was 7 years old. He's 12 years old now. And she wanted to come on just to talk about pediatric MS, how he got to his diagnosis. And the real cool thing about this is Erica is actually fighting her own fight. She was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, so she deals with that on a daily basis, and she is the mom of an MSer. Please welcome to the podcast, Erica. How you doing today, Erica?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So, Erica, I know that you're the mom of a MS badass. Frankie is 12 years old, and he was just diagnosed when he was 7. And I can't even imagine that. Oh, I'm sorry, 9. I can't even imagine getting that diagnosis that young, what was going through his head. But as the mom, just kind of like what led up to Frankie and you and his dad being told that he had MS at 9 years old?
It was a pretty quick diagnosis from what I hear from everyone else. He went on a ice fishing trip with Dad, and he came home, and my husband said he's not feeling well. And it was late at night, so he kind of stumbled. And my husband said he wasn't really hungry while they were out ice fishing. It's so exciting, you know, there's perch going everywhere, right? But my husband said he kind of slept through the whole time. He didn't have a fever or anything, so I fed him. He took a bath. He went to bed, and the next day I kept him home from school. That day, again, no fever. He was fine. He was playing video games. He seemed a little off, but I pegged it to a flu or cold. And the day after that, he says, I'm fine. So he went to school. But as he got out of the car, I noticed him walking weird and not himself. I'm like, oh, maybe he's not over this cold, but everything else seems fine except him walking. The next day was a PA day where he stayed at grandma's. And that night we went over to grandma's, and he seemed a little slouched. And I asked everyone there, is he okay? Like, does he look weird? And I tell this story all the time because he didn't have, it was a prompt visit, so he didn't have clothes for the next day. So they just gave him a t-shirt and it was oversized. It was hanging off his shoulder. So it just made sense that no, it's the t-shirt, right? And, but he was still very quiet, not himself, but everyone there thought, you know what, he seems fine. The next day was a Saturday and I went to pick him up and we go grocery shopping, and every inch we're going, he's bumping into me and falling on the ground, right, in the store. And at first I thought he was being silly, right? And I'm going, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Then shopping with me, get up, right? It was just really weird. Like he could not stay on his feet. But again, it's winter, the floors are slippery, he's got boots on. And then there was a point of the day where he didn't have a shirt on. And again, his back was slouched. So me and my husband are looking at him and we're like, does he have scoliosis? Because his spine looked like it was curved. So here we are Googling what it is, and he says, go take him to a walk-in. So I took him to the walk-in and it was full. I don't know. Walk-ins in my town, especially on the weekend, is out the door. So I call my husband. I'm like, he's going to get more sick or sick again if he's here. And let's be real, scoliosis, if it is, you need to have an appointment with your doctor. You need a referral. It's not, the walk-in's not going to assess this. So that night, my husband and Frankie were playing Thumb Wars. And Frankie does right with his left, but he does everything with his right. And my husband said he had no strength in his right hand. And so, like I always say, I don't even know if that was an emergency, but something in the both of us prompted us to take him to the ER. Luckily for me that day, the ER was empty.
Yeah, thank God. So when you brought him into the ER, I know that a lot of times when adults, they just kind of spin them and turn them right back around. So what was their reaction when you brought him to the ER and you said, hey, my son's having problems walking? I mean, did they right away do an MRI or how did that go?
The triage nurse literally looked at him and I said, do you see what I'm seeing? And he did this face like a concerned, and within minutes, he was called. So the way it works in our hospital or in my city, you go and you register, then you register again, then you go into another waiting area, then you get called to see a doctor. So it's like a whole process. But he was from triage or registration right into seeing a doctor and doing a CAT scan straight away. And I had called my husband. I said, oh, great, we're going to be home soon. He's like, that's not good. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, no, that they took him right away. That's not good. So,
Jeez.
Yeah, you expect the worst. And so after the CAT scan, a doctor came and said, we're going to admit him because we need to do an MRI. And we're like, can't we just come back tomorrow? I don't understand why we have to sit in the hospital all night. Well, if you leave, then that MRI may be months. But if you stay, the MRI will be tomorrow. Okay, I guess we'll stay.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
Yeah. And that just started the whole process where after the MRI, the doctor had come in the next day. So CAT scan, admitted, MRI 11:30 the night later. The following day, the morning, the doctor comes in and says in 20 or 25 years, I always get, but it doesn't matter, that she's never seen this in a child. And I'm sitting there going, what are you seeing? And she has a paper and she's like, well, these are the nerves and these are lesions. And she's crossing things off and she's like, that's disruption. So she's explaining, but it's like Charlie Brown. All I'm hearing is wah, 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 because I'm right.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I said, what is that? I don't understand. And she's like, well, these represent lesions that go alongside with MS.
I can't even think of how you felt with a doctor telling you that your 9-year-old son has MS. I can't even imagine what's going through your head. Did you have any knowledge of even what MS was? at the time when they're being told that? I just want to know what was going through your head, Erica.
I did know what MS was, and I knew the severity of MS. I didn't know all the in-betweens. So I went straight to the worst. Yeah. So she said, listen, I don't know what to do here. So I've been on call with Sick Kids Hospital. That's the biggest hospital for children and with the best doctors, best neurologists. And we're going to transport you over. It's about an hour and 20 minutes from where I live. But it's interesting how when my husband was there, they did a throat swab. And I was talking to the nurse, asking them, what time is he going to be sent over? And I looked at his profile over the desk and it said strep throat positive. And I said, does he have strep throat? And she looks and she goes, yes. I go, what? Okay. She's like, yeah, he's getting his medication soon. And I'm going, so this whole time that he wasn't feeling well, it was strep throat.
Wow.
But there was no fever. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand that one either.
No fever at all. That's where I'm like the most puzzled because I kept telling the doctors he's had no fever this whole time. Like, how is it strep throat? He hasn't even complained his throat hurts. Anyways, so we have the medication and we're getting sent over to Sick Kids. That night, I think we got there 2 a.m. But they're just amazing there. So the first day he was basically in a quarantine room because of his strep throat. And this is, COVID is still fresh in the brain. So we have to wear masks. We can't leave unless we wear a mask. He can't leave the room at all. But they're concerned with the MRIs, the cognitive side, and the infection. So they did have to rule out a few things. So MS, MOG, or an actual infection in the brain. Right?
Okay.
Because these things like strep throat can lead to all kinds of things, right? So he had to do a lumbar puncture to distinguish and like really rule out everything. I remember saying, oh, I hope it's just an infection. And now I think back and I'm like, no, that was probably even worse. Right? I don't know.
Right. So let me ask you this. I know that you got to be scared and your husband's got to be scared of what's going on. What's Frankie? How's he doing through all this? I mean, he's 9 years old. His head's got to be spinning. Like, what's going on, Mom, Dad? How is he handling all this?
He's not eating. He's refusing anything. So I can tell that his anxiety level is like through the roof. He's also like jacked on steroids. So he is angry. Like you talk to him and he's like, I don't want that. He was screaming. Right? I'm like, what's wrong with my baby boy? They're like, oh, it's the steroids. I'm like, well, like, is he going to be back to normal? It's like, yeah, he'll be fine. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't think mentally he was doing well.
Yeah, I can't even imagine being told at 9 years old, you got a disease. I don't even know if he would understand that it's never going to go away. I would love to have him. I know he's at his grandma's today. I would love to have him answer a few questions. Maybe we'll have him on in a future episode. So when they sat down and told you guys, hey, Frankie's got MS, what went through your and your husband's mind? What was going through your head when those doctors told you that?
So a month later, we got all of the diagnosis. So we had to go back down there and we're sitting in the office. And, I was so confident. I'm like, oh, they're just going to say it was nothing because I've got God on my side. Everything's going to be perfect. Right. And they say, oh, he's got MS. And my husband's first reaction was, oh, right. And Frankie just looked at him and it's kind of like my husband is always very, oh, it's fine. It's fine. Like, why are you stressed? Like, stress what, right? And because of his reaction, Frankie started crying, right? And of course, right? And the doctor said right away, no. He's going to be fine. And I'm like, what do you mean he's going to be fine? There's so many good medications out there. There's so many resources. They're coming out with so many things. He's going to be fine. And I'm like, okay, whatever, whatever you say, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, let me ask you this, and I ask this to a lot of people that I record with, and usually the answer is nothing. But when you were in that doctor's office and Frankie's crying and all that, did they bring up the mental part of the disease and making sure that, like, you go see a psychiatrist, a counselor, or something? Because I mean, you got your son bawling his eyes out, and this is going to be with him for the rest of his life. Did they mention anything about the mental part of this disease?
yeah, so he's got appointments to see them every 6 to 8 months. So he does MRIs and then he goes. So they always ask him, and they also booked a psychological assessment. So which they'll do again before he's released and gone to the adult hospital for MS. Because in Toronto, there's a specific hospital that just deals with MS patients. So they'll do another one right before then. So as far as now, the psychologist said that he is like healthy, happy, and just a regular boy.
Awesome. Awesome. I am glad that they addressed it, because usually with the adults, when we go through our diagnosis, they're kind of like, hey, you got MS. We're going to get you on a DMT and go live the rest of your life. And that's pretty much the way that most people get diagnosed. I am so glad that the mental part was addressed and he is getting a treatment for that, because this thing, for me, 28 years, you got the physical part, but the mental part has been the hardest part. So them addressing that at his age is awesome. I love that. I love that, Erica. So what did they do with him as far as DMTs? Because I know that they're strong drugs. I know that they've kicked my ass, depending on what DMT it is. Now you got a 9-year-old boy. How did they treat him with the medication, being a juvenile?
So he's on a regular dose, 240, is it mg of, so one in the morning and one in the evening. He's on Tecfidera. So there is no child dose of medication.
Dosing.
So,
yeah. Wow. So he's on, that's crazy. And how does he tolerate that? Does he have any kind of side effects from it?
At first, he had the flush. So the first week of having the medication, his whole body went red. And he said it felt like it was on fire. But since then, nothing. Every once in a while, his ears will get red. And I think he doesn't really complain much. He's such a trooper.
Yeah, he is. I know that he loves soccer, and I know we've had a lot of conversations about how he is with just growing up, and he wants to be a kid, and he's out there playing soccer. He's doing his thing. He's not letting MS limit him, and I love that. How do his friends understand the disease, the diagnosis? I mean, has he been able to explain that to his friends, and how do they react to him?
So it took a while. He was like, I don't want anybody knowing. He's like, why is my picture in the office? I said, because you have a medical condition. They need to know. And he's like, well, my friend came and said that there's something wrong with me because I'm in the office. It slowly started going away, those feelings of he felt like he was different. Now he's like, I've got MS. You know what that is? Neither do I, but like he has an idea, but he's like, what does he say? He's like, pretty much my brain's messed up.
My
He's
brain's
so funny,
messed
but
up.
again,
That's a
we're
good way to
talking
put
to-
it.
Yeah, he's talking to a bunch of 12-year-olds too. So they see him physically that he's okay. So they're like, okay, cool. He's like, gonna have to take medicine every day. Okay, cool. Right? So
Yeah.
his friends don't really, I don't want to say care, but they do, but it's not an issue.
Yeah. But they're learning about it with him, though. And I love the fact that he's actually saying, hey, I got MS. I don't really know what it is, but, I got it. And they're accepting him. They're not like saying, oh, God, you got a disease. I don't want to be around you. I love that he's making it part of him. This is me. I got MS. And I love that.
We actually got a few of them to walk with us and wear the capes for our MS walk in our city. And the
I love
teachers
that.
donated. And yeah, it was so great.
I love that. I think that the more that we talk about this, I know when I first got diagnosed, I didn't want to talk about this disease. And I think that it was a bad mistake. I love the fact that Frankie is proud of the fact that he got his diagnosis and he's wearing it and he's spreading the awareness. Hey, I got MS and look at me. I'm still playing soccer. I'm still being a kid. And he's still doing whatever he wants to do. And he has dreams and he's going after them. And that's the way you got to be. And I think a lot of people can learn from Frankie. Hey, he's not letting this thing stop him. He's still doing his thing. And that's awesome.
It's one thing that the doctor said, because I'm like, well, like, what can't he do? What should he avoid? And they're like, nothing. Let him be a kid. Right. So they said even too, he may never have a relapse until his 20s, 30s, or hopefully the medication doesn't do any of that. But that's one thing too, is that if we had just said, oh, he's got strep throat, gave him the medication and the relapse or the symptoms subsided, again, we would not be here until another 10, 15 years from now.
Exactly. Very good point. Very good point, Erica. If everything just kind of like lined up for you and Frankie just to get that diagnosis and get the answers and get them quick and get them on a med and hopefully it puts them into remission, because you got to keep on going. The other thing that I want to talk about is how we met each other. I met you on TikTok and I actually met you through another MSer that you did a podcast episode with Terry. Talk a little bit about that community and the importance it is for people like us. You're the mom of an MSer and you come into lives and you talk to people about pediatric MS and the importance of all of us coming together on that TikTok community, Erica.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome that he invited me to a live to share my story. And it's actually crazy when I hear people going, what? That's a thing? And people that have lived with MS for 20 years, it's like, what, children? So I believe like any of those type of communities are great. I'm part of one for pediatric parents. It is called Pediatric MS Multiple Sclerosis Alliance on Facebook. And it is a bunch of parents with pediatric patients, all children as young as 3 years old was diagnosed. And we all have the same worry. Sometimes instead of asking a question, I'll go in the search bar because it's been asked time and time again, right? And every once in a while, we'll get a new post saying, my daughter or my son just got diagnosed. How do you move on, right? And so it's like, I've been there. I know. So I can share this support, right? But as a mom, it's never going to get better. But
right,
they will resolve and they will get better. And at the end of the day, your life is going to be different, but it is what it is.
And you got to live every day the best that you can. And like Frankie, he's at his grandma's having a good time with all his friends. He's being a kid. He's living his life and he's going after his dreams. And I can't wait to connect up with him and just sit him down and have a discussion in the future. Erica, what would your message be to anybody that is out there and like they have a kid that might not be diagnosed and you got a parent that is fighting for that diagnosis and trying to advocate for their kid? What would you tell them to keep on fighting for that diagnosis and get for the answers?
I would tell them to just continue, ask the doctor, book whatever you need to. It is kind of hard being in the healthcare that we have, right? So, but I do tell parents, listen, this is possible. When you see these symptoms, don't just let them fizzle out. Like if they're falling constantly, if they're constantly tired, if they're so moody, yes, it could be just being a kid, but it could be something else. So I always tell people, like, don't ignore or don't just push things to the side, to ask your doctor.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I mean, you know your kid, you know when they're not right and something's, they're not acting right, and you got to stick up for your kid because they can't do it. They're too young to do it. So you got to advocate for them. And I'm so glad that you did that for Frankie and got him on the meds so that he can live the best life that he can, Erica. And I really want to thank you for coming on and sharing this information with me, because I'm ignorant to pediatric MS. I mean, I was 27 when I got diagnosed. So learning about this is so valuable to me because I don't want to be ignorant about it. When I first met you, I'm like, oh my God, I really need to talk to her because I don't know anything about pediatric MS. And to have you on just to explain what it's like going through that, I really, really want to thank you, and I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you. And he scored his very first goal last game.
Yes. Oh man, all day. Tell him I said congratulations. He's a badass. And like I said, I really want to thank you for coming on. And please share out this story and hit the subscribe button. We want to be understood, and the best way to understand us is to listen to us talk. And I really want to thank you again, Erica. And I'm going to get out of here until the next episode. This is the MS Michigan Man 64. I am out.
If you like this kind of content, please like, share, follow, and subscribe. And as always, go blue.